865th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code MMA SGPN.
Heidi ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 865 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to James, who can't believe that I got rid of the Christian Soda nickname. But hey, what can I say? I'm a restless guy. Who am I? I am, of course, Tony Mustard, aka Jeff Fox. A new name, yes, a new name. Some hardcore fan. Go through all the episodes and make a running history of my nicknames, please. And thanks. I'm not going to do it. So anyhow, as of today, I'm Tony Mustard. And as of today, we are covering the UFC. Yes, the UFC is back. And I don't know if it's the week off that we had from the UFC, if it's the Apex slop we've been fed for the past few years. Maybe it's a combination of both, but this is not the worst fight card we've seen.
Well, it's a live fight card, right? Like, that's part of it, right? Like,
Yep.
they do a little bit better, you know, even when, like, you want to go way back in the day, even when they were in, like, Roanoke, Virginia, it was, like, always a better card when they were in the live stuff.
Yep. That, of course, is Daniel Gumby Vreeland, always Gumby. But with that being said, we still have heavyweights in the main event, and one of them hasn't fought in over a year, and he's 40
One of them's only fought one time.
And one of them's only fought one time. So it's not like it's the greatest fight card, but still. But we have 3 heavyweight fights, too, to talk about. So should be fun. Today, of course, is all about the prelims. Some heavyweights pop up in the prelims as well. And we are talking about, of course, again, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Teixeira. Before we dive into all of that, I need to remind you, if you don't know already, either or, you can listen to every podcast episode on this network for free. Not just our show, but all the shows. Just subscribe to the SGPN feed. So check it out. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. SGPN feed gets all of our shows. But you should subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast as well. You should actually listen to us on both, and then we'll get extra download numbers that way. All right, Lewis versus Teixeira is going down this Saturday, not Friday. What am I saying? Nashville, Tennessee, in the Bridgestone Arena. They're still owned by Endeavor. It has all that on Tapology. 12 fights. It's basically 6 and 6. We got 6 prelims to talk about today. Tomorrow will be the 6-card main 6-fight lineup main card, something like that. Some of those words make sense if you put them in the correct order. So we're starting at 6 p.m. at start time for this one. This is an ESPN Plus production for both cards. So any thoughts on the prelims? We got some massive odds kicking things off.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, maybe not the first couple of fights, but later on in this card and even on the main card, it seemed like every fight had wild odds. And I'm like, this fight has got to be closer than that, right? And like, not every time did it swing me to the underdog, but I was just like, man, like, if you were just like one of those dudes who like blindly threw money down on underdogs, because I know there are a couple of you in our Discord, but like, if you are one of those guys, like, this actually might wind up being a wonderful card for you, because like, I think there were a couple of fights that even I took the favorite at the end of the day. You know how me, I bite on underdogs like all the time, but even I was like, I'm going to take the favorite, but man, there's too much value on the underdog here.
Yep, it is very true. And all you have to do is with odds this wide, all you have to do is hit a couple, and you're basically set for the night. So if you bet $100 on every fight, which is what you have to do, because them's the rules. So all right, we're starting off with a favorite of ours, right? Fatima Kline.
Yeah.
She's
sure.
she's one of our podcasts, and I believe our Discord favorites. Fatima Kline, United States. She's fighting a strawweight bout against Mellissa Martinez from Mexico. And let's break her down. I'll tell you about Martinez first. Super Melly, 8-1 with 5 knockouts. She's never been finished in a fight. She's 1-1 in the UFC. She did win her last fight. She's not lost since September 2022. She's a regional champ, a kickboxing champ. Better striking stats than Kline, and she's more active landing strikes as well. However, she's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.43 strikes per minute. She's at plus 750. The Archangel, Fatima Kline, 7-1, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. She's never been finished in a fight. 1-1 in the UFC as well. She won her last fight via TKO. Multiple regional championships on her.
Mantle.
Correct. Get our shirt, get our merch, get all our good stuff. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Use fight up at 125. She went 4-0 in Invicta. According to Tapology, 15-6 as a pro grappler and multiple championships there. I'm sure she's had far more grappling fights than that, though. She's 4 inches taller, an inch of reach advantage over Martinez, 3 years younger, better grappling stats. No surprise there. She has outstruck her opponents by 0.53 strikes per minute in the UFC, and she is at minus 1100. Yikes.
Yeah, it's minus 1100, but like, Kline is the play here. This is not one of those fights where I was like, whoa, pump the brakes. This line should be closer. Like, Kline is a lot better. Even her loss, right, was a competitive loss to Jasmine Jasudavicius. And it was up a weight class on short notice. And I think if she didn't get like outsized and outbodied by Jasmine, and like, look, getting beat by her in any facet is fine, because Jasmine's top 5 in that division now, or at least top 10. And like, getting beat by her in any way would be fine, but like, she kind of got bodied by her a little bit. And if that, we were talking about size disparity, or we were talking about, Fatima Kline being a legit 125er, she actually kind of got things going with the hands a little bit. And, I don't expect her to outstrike Melly Martinez here. Melly is a pretty sharp striker. Both her and her brother are. But the big problem here is, you got Martinez here at 25% takedown defense.
Yeah.
And you got somebody who's got 100% takedown accuracy. And damn good on the mat, too. You know what I mean? Like, I know she's got one submission victory, but like, this is a submission specialist who just doesn't happen to have very many submissions because she's dropped TKOs instead. And I don't know if that was like marketing to get herself to the UFC or whatnot. Like, if you've seen her fight in submission grappling or combat jiu-jitsu, or wherever it is she's been fighting, like, her submission skills really are top notch. She's submitting high level jiu-jitsu specialists. And now we're also talking about a fight here where she's fighting Melly Martinez. Somebody, as I said before, she's not going to outstrike her, but Melly Martinez has a 25% takedown defense, 25%, and she's up against somebody who's got 100% takedown accuracy. Somebody who gets anybody down she wants to, and is now at a better size situation, right? She's actually bigger than Melly Martinez, right? She's taller at least. And like, I think the physicality is going to be there. I think it's only going to take her getting her down one time for this fight to finish. I think she does it early in the first. Like, give me Fatima Kline here.
Yeah, I'm taking Kline as well. I don't like the line, obviously. I was thinking, well, it's women's strawweight. I should maybe via decision, but that's not a safe play either, because Kline, I can see her ground and pounding and/or submitting Martinez. So I think in real life, this one will have to be a pass, right? Minus 1100. Not even a throw in the parlay.
If you stick around to the end of the show tomorrow, I may have some thoughts on that for you. So,
all right.
Listen to this show, but also listen to tomorrow's show.
There's your teaser. All right. We're going to men's lightweight, another lopsided one, at least according to the odds. Mike Davis versus Mitch Ramirez. Let's break her down. Ramirez, good nickname, the Fight Stalker. 8-2, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. He owes his rounds. 0-1 in the UFC. Loss is the pattern. He got TKO'd in his last fight. He went 0-1 on the Contender Series. Do you remember who he lost to, Gumby?
Yeah, Carlos Prates.
There you go. That aged well. He's fed at 170. He's been outstruck in the 2 fights we have stats for by 0.97 strikes per minute. He's at plus 650.
God, that's a number.
I know. Plus 650. Beast Boy Davis, 11-3, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once. Durable guy. A 4-2 in the UFC, 4-1 over his last 5. He did lose his last bout. He's fight at 145. Regional champ, 0-1 Contender Series. Who did you lose to, Gumby?
Sadiq Youssef?
Yeah, yep, you're correct. That one aged well as well. 2015 Pro MMA debut, an inch height, an inch reach over Ramirez. He's got better striking stats. He's twice more active landing strikes than Ramirez is. Better grappling stats as well. He has been outstruck, but not quite as bad as Ramirez. 0.51. He's at minus 900. Obviously, Beast Boy's pick. I like Beast Boy. The issue was he wasn't fighting often enough, but he's fighting again. I think he already fought earlier this year too. So
yeah, Faraz Zaim was the fight earlier. And look, I think this number would probably be even crazier if he looked the way we expected him to look against Faraz Zaim. But like, Zaim came in, good game plan. I think Mike Davis kind of crumbled towards the end of that fight. And some of that's just not being, like seasoned, not having his fights together. And now he's going to fight Mitch Ramirez, a guy who's had trouble with people who back him up, right? Like, and granted, having problems with Carlos Prates. Like, I'm not holding that, especially up a weight class, right? Because that was Carlos Prates at 170, and like Mitch Ramirez is a 55 guy. But then, like, he got TKO'd with leg kicks by Thiago Moises. And, like, you know, look, I love Thiago Moises, and he puts together good fights, but that's not a striker. Right?
No.
A guy who basically just kicked his leg out the whole time and moved forward. And if you remember correctly, in that Mike Davis versus Sadiq Youssef fight, which, by the way, if you've never seen it, go back and watch. It's one of the best Contender Series fights of all time. Mike Davis just ripped Sadiq Youssef's legs apart to the point where, like, Youssef could barely walk by the end of that fight. So, like, we got a guy who's got trouble with leg kicks and a guy who dishes them out. We got a guy who's now back to being in his right mindset, you know, being seasoned in Mike Davis, versus a guy who's been knocked out a bunch of times or at least knocked out in 2 of his losses in Mitch Ramirez. I just don't think Ramirez has enough of that. I can work backwards and forwards. And I also think Mike Davis probably has a wrestling advantage, right? Like, I know the grappling stats are kind of hazy here because Davis is like 4-9 all time with takedowns, and Ramirez is 1 of 1, I think. But you know, Mitch Ramirez was like a surprise takedown on Carlos Prates before he got eaten up. And then, like, Davis has taken down some, like, actually good wrestlers, and he's got, like, pretty good top control. So, like, I kind of think the wrestling advantage would be there for Davis if he even wants it. And if not, he's just going to tear him apart on the feet. So, yeah, give me Mike Davis.
Yep. Beast Boy is the way. All right. Before we dive into more winning plays, let me tell you another place you can win. That would be Circa. With Circa Million or you can do both, Circa Survivor. Think you know ball? Then you have to enter Circa's football contest with $21 million in guaranteed prizes. There's no rake, so if entries go above the guaranteed, all extra money will go to the prize pool. Circa Million, you pick 5 teams against the spread each week, or go for the ultimate sweat in Circa Survivor. There's even the Circa Grandissimo, a $100,000 Survivor contest. You must register in person at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada, which is a good excuse to go to Las Vegas. But then once you do sign up in Nevada, you can play from anywhere thanks to the help of SGPN's official proxy. So go to footballcontest.com, use promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. Remember, brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet in every sport, including MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposits, lightning fast payouts using crypto. They have all these UFC lines we're talking about right now as well, of course. And when you do head to mybookie.ag, make sure you sign up with our promo code MMA SGPN. That way you get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. Now, for our first heavyweight belt.
Is this the worst fight to call on the whole card? Honest question.
You mean
before we start breaking it down,
pick a
side in this fight, is it the hardest one to pick a side?
Maybe not the hardest, but I'm not.
I think it's the hardest.
Okay, well, let's
I'll tell you why in a second.
Yeah, it's not fun when it's much harder when it's 2 people that aren't very good versus 2 people that are good. So yeah, that way it is hard. Kennedy Nzechukwu we're talking about. He's from Nigeria. Valter Walker, he's from Brazil. They're fighting at heavyweight. So heavyweight, first of all, that adds some difficulty right there. The clean monster is Valter Walker, which is
I forgot about
nickname, which I think I've stolen already, but it's a good nickname. He's 13-1. He must be good then, Gumby. 6 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's never been finished, so he definitely is good. 2-1 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight, both via submission. That means he's amazing. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, get a gear. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Used to fight down at 205, an inch of height over Nzechukwu, 5 years younger. Better grappling stats. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.23 strikes per minute, plus 200. The American Savage, or not, it's just American Savage. No, the
Isn't it African Savage?
Oh, yeah. Why do I did this last time, I think, too.
Did he change it?
Did he change it? He does live in the United States, but I believe it is, yes, it's African, which I'm pretty sure I did this last time.
Yeah, this feels very familiar.
It does feel it feels like a old man doing the same mistake again. The African Savage. Just African Savage. 14-5. 10 knockouts, 1 submission for Nzechukwu. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 8-5 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. Both of his past 2 wins have come via TKO. Used to fight at 205. Basically, he predominantly fought at 205. He's moved up. 2-0 on Contender Series. 5 inches reach over Walker. He's 3 times more active landing strikes. He's outstruck his points by 0.48 strikes per minute. He's at minus 225. So obviously it's tough. I can't even get the nicknames right.
All right, let me tell you why it's tough here.
Okay.
On one hand, Valter Walker's bad at MMA, right? Like,
he's not good at it.
He's not good.
But I am picking spoiler, I'm picking some people that aren't good at MMA coming up. So It's not a disqualifier.
I'm going to take one right now. I'm going to take Valter Walker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't like it because on one hand, do I think Kennedy Nzechukwu is better at fighting than him? Yeah, I do. But the bottom line is like, let's look at what Kennedy Nzechukwu's body of work looks like in his last 4 fights. He fought twice at light heavyweight, was absolutely bested by Dustin Jacoby, got beat by Ovin St. Preux. I want to remind you that he got beat by Ovin St. Preux, and then he was like, oh, to hell with light heavyweight, I'm going up to heavyweight. And since then has beaten Chris Barnett and Lucas Brzeski, which, by the way, one of them is a light heavyweight and the other one is 5'10". And so, like, it's not like he's put together some, like, impeccable body of work up at 265 that makes me be like, oh, this guy's got it. Like, this guy figured out how to move up a weight class. He just happened to be given 2 fantastic matchups up a weight class. And then on top of that, too, like, I know his takedown defense is high, but, like, who's the last guy who shot a takedown on him? Like, he defended takedowns from Ovin St. Preux, who, granted, Ovin St. Preux's only takedowns have ever come when somebody jumped guillotine on him and he hung on to a Von Prupper choke. Like, outside of that, like, who's out there taking him down? Like, look at his list of opponents. And actually, if you look at his list of opponents in general, he has got a wildly weak resume. I'm, like, sort of shocked at how bad the resume is of Kennedy Nzechukwu. It's like there's like 3 guys on it. It's like Dustin Jacoby, Carl Zalberg, and Paul Craig, and he lost to 2 out of those 3 guys. Who is his most impressive win? I'm not sure if he has one. And then, so, like, does that mean automatically we pick him against a guy who's awful? No, because, look, Valter Walker has one very obvious path to victory. If he gets you down, he will submit you. And I've never seen Kennedy Nzechukwu defend a takedown against the guy who's, I mean, I don't know if Valter Walker's good at takedowns, but he's at least all right at them. And I think he only needs one opening. And we've also seen the cardio of Kennedy suck. Maybe it's a little bit better at heavyweight. Maybe it's better at heavyweight. But yeah, I'm gonna take a stab here. I like Valter Walker.
Yeah, all makes sense. I still can't take him. I still can't take Walker, but all good points.
And I completely respect you for that.
I'll take the better striker who's much longer, but it's not like you can have a heck of a lot of faith, as Gummy said, in Kennedy and Nzechukwu. At least not at this point at heavyweight. So, all right, next fight. When I saw this fight announced, like, oh, I know who Gummy's picking here without even looking at odds or anything. I knew who he's picking. This is a women's flyweight belt: Lauren Murphy versus Eduarda Moura, U.S. versus Brazil. Murphy is lucky. Lauren Murphy, 16-6, 8 knockouts, 1 submission. She's been knocked out once. Very durable. 8-6 in the UFC. Loss over her last 3. 6-2 over her last 8. She's not fought those in over 2 years. January 2023. He's not won a fight since July 2022. She went 0-1 in the Ultimate Fighter. He's fight 135 and 145. 3-0 in Invicta, and the inaugural champ at bantamweight, maybe featherweight. One of those weight classes.
Bantam, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
She also has multiple region championships on her
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, get all the good stuff. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. 2010 Pro MMA debut for Murphy. An inch of reach over Moura. More active landing strikes than Moura. She's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.2 strikes per minute, plus 460. Ronda, of course. Moira is one of those Rondas from Brazil. 11-1, 4 knockouts, 5 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 2-1 in the UFC. She won her last bout. Used to fight down at strawweight and up at bantamweight. Missed weight twice at strawweight. So now she is up at flyweight. 1-0 on the Contender Series. Multiple region championships on her.
Mantle.
As I take a sip. Yes, correct. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Multiple region championships. 1 inch of height over Murphy. 11 years younger. Better grappling stats. She's been outstruck by 0.15 strikes per minute. Minus 600. I don't like it. I'm going to take Moira. I don't like the number, obviously. I can't trust Murphy being out for that long and being on the wrong side of 40. But is Moira good? That's still up in the air whether she's good. Will she be able to take Murphy down? That's the big thing that I think Gummy's going to probably tell you about.
Yeah. Well,
Murphy's a tough one.
If she can't, so this, I'm just going to have you do part of my breakdown for me.
Yep.
If she can't take Lauren Murphy down, does she have any chance of winning this fight?
I guess she could outpoint her on that. She's not going to finish her, first of all.
You think she can outpoint Lauren Murphy?
She would have to. She would have to. But yeah, it would be tough. It will be tough.
And so that to me is it, right? Because she couldn't take down Denise Gomes. She could, or at least couldn't control her.
Yeah.
And wound up losing a decision down a weight class to Denise Gomes. So like we're talking about, Denise Gomes, who is just a power puncher and just like a little ball of muscle that she is. And Moura couldn't control that and wound up getting badly outbeat on the feet, had no answers for the striking of Denise Gomes. And yeah, Denise Gomes, big power puncher, all that kind of stuff. But like she was confused of what to do on the feet. Who is ever like really truly bodied Lauren Murphy? Like who has gone into a fight with Lauren Murphy and bodied her? And like the answer is probably only Valentina Shevchenko, who went 3 of 4 on takedowns against her. She went in there with Miesha Tate and stuffed 7 straight takedowns and beat the hell out of her. And granted, you're right. It has been a few years since we've seen her in there. But like, it's not like she's not training. Like there's posts of her training every single day and stuff like that. Like she is out there putting in, and this is a retirement fight. I know we don't like taking people in a retirement fight, but Lauren Murphy does not seem like to me the Jalen Turner type who stopped training and then decided to take a retirement fight. She seems like the type who's been carefully curating her retirement fight, knowing there's only one more and she wants to go out with a bang. I think she goes out with a bang here, and at plus 460, man, all she's got to do is stuff takedowns, and I think she wins this easily.
Yep. All makes sense to me. So Gumby said he wasn't taking all the dogs, but he's got back-to-back ones. So that's definitely a start. All right, but we'll dive into the last couple of fights on the prelims. Speaking of underdogs, Underdog at Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Plus, Underdog is also a great place to play. Pick 'em. Gumby's got to play for you right now.
Sure. Yeah. You should get this in your ears before the games start here on Wednesday night for the MLB. I'm going to take the lower than on Mackenzie Gore's 5.5 strikeouts. Mackenzie Gore, 5th in the MLB in strikeouts, but he has been lower than this mark in 3 of his last 4 games. He's going to be up against the Cardinals, who only struck out 4 times last night and are striking out less than 8 times a game. They're like one of the best 6 teams in the majors when it comes to striking out. So we're going to take the lower than on Mackenzie Gore's strikeouts.
All right, take that and take the code I'm giving you right now, MMA SGPN. Take all that over to underdogfantasy.com, and then you can claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So underdogfantasy.com with the code MMA SGPN. And you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won, and that's a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Gumby, was the pick you just gave us from Power Trends?
Yeah, actually, we can go back a week on Power Trends hooking me up with Mackenzie Gore being on lower than. I'm almost late to the party talking about it because when his last game popped up, every time I saw Gore, we were going higher than or over on his strikeouts. Power Trends told me last time, like, hey, watch out on that. He's actually been trailing off, and he was lower than on his last game. So we're going to go lower than again because Rhythm hooked me up with that knowledge, and we're riding it until it does.
There you go. So you can get a 7-day free trial and check out Power Trends for yourself by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. The spelling, RITHMM, Rhythm. All right, two fights left on the prelims to see if Gumby goes dog again. This one's pretty much a pick 'em. Jake Matthews versus Chidi and Njokuani. Australia versus the US at 170. We'll tell you about the Celtic kid, Jake Matthews.
Matthews the dog now?
He is a dog now, Gumby. That's good news. Good news, right?
That's swung. Yeah.
Yep. He is 21-7, 5 knockouts, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted 3 times. 14-7 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight, 3 of 4, 4 of 7. Used to fight at 170. Regional champion, 2012 pro MMA debut. 6 years younger than Njokuani, despite being in the UFC forever. He's still younger than people. He has outstruck his opponents by 0.82 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's got better grappling stats than Njokuani, minus 104. So pretty much a pick him. Chidi, bang, bang. Njokuani, 25-10 with 1 no contest, 15 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted 3 times, 5-3 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight. Before that, he lost 3 straight. TKO win in his last bout. He's missed weight 7 times at welterweight, including including his last bout. So he did win his last bout, but normally fighters that miss weight tend to lose their bouts. He used to fight up at 185, 1-0 contender series, 5-3 in Valter. He's a regional champ. 2007 pro MMA debut, 12-1-1 in kickboxing professionally. I think that might just be a partial record. 4 inches of height over Matthews, 7 inches of reach. More active lightning strikes. He's outstruck his points by 2.08 strikes per minute, minus 115. Gumby.
Oh, it's my turn. And I didn't even
so,
realize I was going 3 dogs in a row, because when I broke this one down, I had Matthews as a favorite, but I'm going Jake Matthews. I didn't trust Chidi in his last fight, largely because of his cardio. He winds up picking up that big knockout, and it looks bad. But like, Jake Matthews has looked a lot better lately, right? Like he went and fought Francisco Prado, and I don't think he scored a single takedown in that fight with Francisco Prado. That dude's dangerous as hell in the feet, and he survived and won that fight. And really, when you look back at the losses of Jake Matthews, right, because we had him as a hyper prospect for a while. Yeah. He started losing a couple of fights, and we're like, oh, maybe the Jake Matthews train is left. But like, who are the losses to, right? Michael Morales, which, let me tell you what, aged pretty darn well. Yep. Sean Brady, let me tell you what else aged pretty darn well. The only really bad loss he's got in his last, 8 fights is that one to Matthew Semmelsberger. And if you remember that one, Semmelsberger kind of like went to his wrestling and just grinded out a win, which I think that path to victory is there for anybody who can out wrestle Jake Matthews. Because while he is a good offensive wrestler, he's got nice submission skills. His takedown defense and where he gets caught in his striking sometimes is he's so careful with his hands, and he's so careful with his placement, and he's so interested in what he's doing on the feet and has to think about it, that sometimes he forgets to defend the takedown too. We saw it with Brady, right? He got taken down and immediately arm triangled. He got taken down a couple of times when he got sloppy against Matthew Semmelsberger, but that's not Chidi Njokuani's path to victory, right? Chidi Njokuani's path to victory is knock him out in the first 2.5 minutes. And if he doesn't knock him out in the first 2.5 minutes, Chidi's gonna be tired. The gas tank's not there on that guy. So really all we need is a first round Jake Matthews takedown, and he should grind into a victory here, in my opinion, right? Chidi's got power, but that power only lasts for so long. And so if you're playing the Chidi side, especially as a favorite, you're really betting you might as well bet first round knockout, in my opinion, because I don't think he's winning any other way.
Yeah. Grind. You say grind. I think that's the key to this. I'm picking Jake Matthews as well.
I thought you were going to be on the other side of it.
I was originally, and then I heard someone talking about it on another podcast I listened to.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I wasn't locked in, definitely on Chidi, because how can anyone be locked in on Chidi?
Guy who just misses weight chronically.
Yeah. And you never know really what kind of performance he's going to get. I like Matthews making it gritty. He doesn't lean on his grappling enough, or he hasn't recently. I'm hoping he goes back to that. Hoping he realizes.
I think that's just isn't that just because of the success on the feet, though?
Yep.
Right, he was beating Francisco Prado. Who was the one he fought before Prado? Hang on, he was fighting Phil Rowe. He's beating Phil Rowe on the feet, which in retrospect, right? Phil Rowe just came off that great performance against Angelusa. A striking victory over Phil Rowe certainly is a nice feather in his cap too. So yeah, I'll take Jake Matthews. And all he's got to do is stay safe on the feet. He doesn't have to do much more than that.
Yep. Take that Njokuani. Njokuani is old. He didn't get to the UFC until he had a full career in 2 different.
Got a great voice though.
Yeah, he had a full career in kickboxing and a full career in MMA. Then he came to the UFC. So let's see the Celtic kid grind one out here. Or he could very easily get, destroyed within the first couple minutes. But that's probably the 2 outcomes of this fight. Matthews via decision, or Njokuani via early knockout.
I wouldn't be surprised if Matthews got a late stoppage. If you're looking for avenues to bet this and you don't just like the Matthews straight up side, there's not enough value on that. I could take Jake Matthews by in the 3rd round by either TKO or submission. Or again, if you're on the Chidi side, I would just implore you, Chidi first round knockout is pretty much the only way it's going down, in my opinion.
Matthews via TKO old, perhaps TKO.
Retirement.
TKO fatigue.
TKO endeavor forced retirement.
Yeah. All right. Main event. Other prelims should be a good one. A couple of Americans. Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin at 170. Tell you about Max Payne. Griffin 20-11, 9 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. Very durable dude. 8-9 in the UFC. Loss, win, loss, win, loss over his last 5. He got submitted in his last bout. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. He's fight at 185, 2009 pro MMA debut. An inch of reach over Curtis. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.09 strikes per minute. He's got better grappling stats than Curtis, plus 250. The Action Man versus Payne. The Action Man, Curtis. If you want to know why he's Action Man, go
One
to the
of
top
the best
turtle
nicknames of all time.
Yep. Top Turtle, and it's not what you think. It's from outside the cage. So, Top Turtle podcast. That was years ago, but still, good interview nonetheless. 31-12 with 1 no contest, 17 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once, so he's a durable guy too. 5-4 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight, and he's got 1-3 with 1 no contest over his last 5. TKO loss in his last bout. Used to fight at 185 and 205. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. 1-3 in PFL, 1-0 in Contender Series, 2009 Pro MMA debut, 2-0 in boxing, 2 years younger than Griffin, more active landing strikes than Griffin. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.27 strikes per minute, minus 305. I'm going dog here. I'm going big dog here in Max Griffin, surprisingly. I don't have much faith in Chris Curtis at this point in his career. A fun fighter. Both these guys are fun fighters. But when you dive into it, Griffin has fought similar levels of competition, a little less than Curtis. He's actually has more. He has shown, at least just statistically, to have more power on the feet. He's just as durable as Curtis is, and he's way better in grappling. So this fight's a lot closer than what the odds say. So I'll take a swing on a big dog here.
I'm going to say I agree with you that this fight is a lot closer than the odds say. This is one of the ones where I went to go look at the odds, and I was like thinking 175 for Curtis or something like that. And I looked at it, I'm like, damn near twice that high, which is crazy. But here's the piece that led me to a Chris Curtis pick. You're right. Statistically, on the feet, Max Payne Griffin, better power. Do you know what we're not taking into account? And I think a lot of people aren't taking into account in this fight. It's that Chris Curtis is a 170 pounder again for the first time in years.
Sure.
And he should have been an 170 pounder from the minute he came to the UFC. I remember interviewing him right after he made his UFC debut. They asked him to fight on short notice, 135 pounds. He fought Megatron.
He said 135 pounds. His head weighs at least that. So what's 135? 185 pounds, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 180. Did I say 35? Yeah, he fought at 185. Yes. And he fought, I think the guy's nickname is Megatron.
Right. And yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
he's like a chronic underperformer. But anyway, he fought that guy on short notice at 85, and he's like, I don't know, I look kind of good at 85. I think I'll stay there. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, why would you stay there? It's not your natural weight class. You're gonna get bodied by the Brendan Allens of the world, which is what happened to him, right? Is like he wound up wasting years of his career chasing the 185-pound rankings when they're dudes that are just so much like a guy shaped like he is not going to go in there and fight Brendan Allen. You know, it's just not going to work for him. And so like, but I think the thing I like about Chris Curtis is, first of all, his power is going to, didn't he knock out Brendan Allen? It's weird that I mentioned Brendan Allen and all of that. Like, I think that's one of the guys he knocked out. But he lost the rematch. They fought twice.
And it's Phil Haas is who you're thinking of earlier. But yes.
Thank you. But I think he's fought Brendan Allen twice now. Once he got submitted and once he knocked him out. I hit a Hungry Man Jong in that knockout.
There you go. That's what you remember.
Yeah. him and Billy Quarantillo knockouts on that night. I don't know why I remember that, but it was like 16-1.
You got to add a new wing to your house after that. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like down a weight class, his power should be back. His takedown defense should be higher because he's not going to be way smaller than everybody he's fighting. And in addition to that too, like we've seen sort of an evolution from him where he is a really good technical boxer, right? Like he's fought some fights where maybe they're not the most entertaining, but he's been able to stay away from people that whole time. And I think that that's really important here in this fight with Max Griffin, being able to stay away from what I would consider an ugly fight, which is how Max Griffin likes to fight. So I'm going to take Chris Curtis here. I think he gets it done.
But can't you picture Curtis losing a decision, being all pissed off? Like he
always is? and not doing enough. Yes, that's my concern.
That he's one of those guys who's chronically mad when the decision doesn't go his way, and you're like, well, of course, you didn't do anything. But all right, let's recap. Not a lot of consensus here, so you guys are going to have to pick a side. So you got to pick which parent you love most. I have Griffin. He has Curtis. Both have Matthews. He has Murphy. I have Moura. I have Nzechukwu. He has Walker. Crazy. Both have Davis. Both have Kline. All right, you are all set until tomorrow. We're going to be back for the other half of this here fight card, aka the main card. In the meantime, we're in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. That's where I got this new nickname from Tony Mustard. Thanks to Gumby. You can hit us up on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, please and thanks. Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vrila, and I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. At Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram as well. Check out my Substack. Enter my UFC Pick'em contest for this year event at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby's got a podcast called Top Turtle. We discuss all the time. Tell the people who is on the show this week.
Yeah, two people we're going to be talking to or about tomorrow, rather. We're going to be talking about Steve Garcia. We're going to be talking about Austin Lane, and both of them are on the show this week.
Yes, both very good interviews. Check it out. And of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com is where we can be found. Gumby and I write about 50 articles a piece a day, right? When I was on vacation, you must have just been writing from
it was like pretty much
sundown.
Only me on the
yes
homepage.
Wild. Yeah, it's quieter in the summer. Football is ramping up though. We're getting lots of football stuff on there, so check out all the good stuff at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon for bonus content, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, as I've told you a bunch of times in this episode, to get our merch. All right, we're back tomorrow. The Clean Monster, Jeff Fox. What should your name be? The Action Man, Gumby Vrila. We'll talk to you tomorrow.